So let's get cracking on those legs, shall we? All right, so let's start standing. I don't know if you'll need the balls or the cushions yet, but let's start standing with our feet hip joint width apart. And then I'd like you to just find your center. Close your eyes and find your center. So when I say that, I would like you to consider if you dropped a plumb line down from your crown of your head, and so it's going down through your head, down your spine, through your pelvis, down towards the floor. Where's that center? And then also, where's the center of your feet, where your shins come out, your thigh bones come out? And so I just want you to notice internally how that feels. And then I'd like you to just find your insteps and just lengthen your insteps upwards. So your insteps connect into your inner seams that run from your ankles all the way up towards your pubic bone. And notice that very, 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 very slight feeling when you just lift your insteps. And then I'd like you to, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me, so you can stay where you are. And I want you to just lean forward, keeping the heels on the floor. And also, if you notice that your toes are bunching, soften them. And then we're going to come back and we're going to feel like we're lengthening the toes and the soles of the feet ahead of you as you lean back. You may find that the toes really want to lift. If they do happen to lift, then soften them back down. And then again, lengthen yourself forwards. And lengthen yourself backwards. One more time. And back. Okay. And now, I'm just going to gently rise. Bring onto the balls of the feet. So just notice how slowly I'm doing it, not coming all the way up really, really, really fast. And just notice what works for you. You don't have to go really high. Just want you to do it gently and slowly, opening up the front of the ankles. And then soften down. So again, just sending your center up towards the ceiling, pressing down with the ball of the foot as you open up the front of the ankles. And just looking in front of you, pressing across the ball of the feet, opening up the ankles again. And notice if you do, just as I did, lift the ankles open a little bit more quickly, you may lose your balance. If you do, then just rectify yourself. Okay, so just come back to the edge of your mat, facing into your mat. Draw your fingertips up the wall and just reach up towards the ceiling. Reach up towards the ceiling. And then bend your knees into a gentle squat, just sending your knees down, reaching up towards the ceiling. Sending your heels away, so you're lengthening the calf muscles, lengthening the Achilles muscles, or Achilles tendons I should say. And then lengthen up, and again, bending, keeping those ankles connected, sending the knees forward. Ideally, they go across your second toe, but don't worry too much about that. We just want to get the legs bending as much as possible, lengthen the legs and then bend the knees again. And then we're staying here, we're going to flex at the hips. We're going to come down with our eye gaze now on the floor. So it's sort of a bit of a tabletop, reaching forwards with the arms. And then pressing upwards, hinging at the hips back to that knee bend. Bringing your arms forward, widening your hips, eye gaze on the floor. Keeping your arms kind of a roundish near your ears, and then hinge back up so you come back into that V-shaped squat. And again, widen the hip bones as you hinge forward. Drop your hands down, lengthen your legs. Bend your knees, come onto the balls of the feet. Keep your fingertips on the floor just to give you balance. Lengthen the legs in this deep forward bend. Bend the knees. Heels come off. Lengthen the legs. Knees bend. And again, please excuse my little cracking knee. And then let's just bring one hand forward and then the other hand a little bit further forward as if you're about to crawl. Bring one hand towards that. So the hand that's in front, bring your foot forwards towards that. And then walk with the other leg. And then walk along the so just sort of doing a little bit of a crawl here. Turn around. And come back down onto that bend. And then we're going to have both of the arms out a little bit. And then front arms a little bit ahead of the back arm. Bring that hand towards the wrist. Bring the hand towards the wrist. Bring the hand towards the foot towards the wrist, I should say. And then come back down, bending. We're going to do that 2 more times on each side. I know this is a bit crazy, but this is getting the movement of the legs and the hand working. It's kind of in the sort of strength piece that I'm learning about at the moment. And then crawl, 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 turning around, bending down, and walk, 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 and turning around. Now come down onto your knees, bend the knees, send the pelvis towards the heels, lengthen the arms out. And then just draw yourself forward so your wrists, your shoulders are over your wrists. Tuck your toes under. And then let's come up onto a downward dog. Bend the knees, let the head and neck come through the shoulders, balancing, pressing through, coming up into a downward dog. Coming through, head and neck over the wrists, and coming back up. So as you come over the wrist, you should be feeling your midline all energized, because that is also helping you balance. So all of your weight is not on the balls of the feet or the wrists. That's it. And come back up into downward dog. Maybe bring your feet a little bit, just a smidge closer. And then again, I want you to press into the balls of the feet. Really connect the balls of the feet into the mat. Lengthen the legs. And again, one more time. Keep us there and hold us there for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Drop the knees down, send the pelvis towards the hips, to the heels. And curl up into kneeling. So we're going to just kneel here before we go to lie down. I want the pelvis to sort of be sitting on the heels, so you can feel the pelvis roughly with your heels. And then we're just going to bring the arms up towards the shoulder height. And we're just going to turn the pelvis backwards and forwards, so tucking it under and sliding it away. You may feel that there's a little bit of movement going on in your thigh bones. And then let's just open the arms out as we tuck the tailbone under. Bring the arms back as you tuck it away. Arms out as you tuck the tailbone under. So I really want you to keep keeping the height of your spine as much as possible as you do this. And just let the spine move or round as you tuck the tailbone under, because the pelvis is moving, rather than because you're giving it a supported helping hand with your spine. And then bring the hands behind you and just lengthen your wrists out. Flex your hands just and lengthen your thighs out here. That's it. Widen your shoulders. Good. And then coming forwards. Up we go with the arms, and we're just going to sweep out and behind us, taking the fingertips, letting the fingertips come onto the mat, widening the shoulders, keeping the rib cage connected in line with the pelvis, and curling up with the arms, coming back, nice arm circle, finding the space in the shoulders, in the thigh bones. And coming up. And one last time. And coming down. Slide the bottom over. So just bring your legs in front of you. Just press your feet in front of you to lengthen out your legs. You may want to bend your knees here a little bit, or you may want to be on a cushion. And then let's just point the toes and flex. Point the toes, flex the ankles. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, but if that is happening, bring your arms out nice and wide here. Because you'll notice that if you the closer you bring your arms to your ears, the more opportunity your shoulders have to shorten, the muscles between the ears and the shoulders. So let's not give them that opportunity. Bring your hands down and then place them behind you again. So flexing your feet. Just going to do a little bit of tricep dip. So flexing your feet, feel like you're sending your legs towards whatever's in front of you, and just bend your elbows backwards and then lengthen up. Bend your elbows backwards, lengthen up. Bend your elbows backwards, lengthen up. Bend your elbows backwards and hold here. Stay here. Bend the knees, in, lengthen the legs. So bend the knees in. Feet can come off the mat if you would like them to. Bend the legs. I want you to keep the tension in the backs of your arms as we keep lengthening the legs. You can get to a point where you're just giving your legs right, so they're hovering off the mat. And then up with the knees, lengthen, come back a little bit lower. Up with the knees, soften up a little bit. Come down a little bit as you lengthen the legs. Up, in. Send the elbows away as you lengthen the legs. and in, and then let's hold here. Hold here. If you haven't got your legs lifted, maybe give them a go of lifting them. And then come up, open the legs out. Coming down in between your legs into a nice rounded back. I want you to point your toes and take your arms over the back leg. And then just move your rib cage around so you're around the front leg. Just gently allowing the spine to move. And again. And again. Just moving them gently from side to side. And then let's come with our legs back in line with us, arms back where they were. We're going to do some triceps again. So we're just going to keep the feet on the floor to start off with. Bend the knees. And then lengthen up. Coming back with the elbows, keeping those shoulders nice and wide. If you notice your shoulders coming up towards your ears like that, then I want you to really keep that midline, that middle that we were talking about, that centre at the beginning. Keep that centre nice and connected. Okay, so stay here with the bent elbows, and then let's bring in and out. Maybe have a play with bringing your knees and your legs, bringing your heels off the mat as you bend your knees and you bring your legs in. And then come up just a little bit, unbend your elbows, but then come a little bit deeper as you lengthen your legs away from you. That's it. And then let's hold here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, bending in and away, in and away, in and away, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come in, open your legs out a little bit again, drop down into between your legs. And then let's reach over towards the back leg. Just place your hands around your leg wherever you find your arms. It could be your thigh or your shin or your ankle, but avoid any pressure on the knee. I'm just going to lengthen the arm, the arm of the same leg, and then we're going to take the opposite arm of the leg and we're just going to peek underneath. Just that arm's now going to rise up. It's going to be the top arm. I'm just going to swing around so you can see me. And then we're just going to come forward again. Just rotate the rib cage, just hang out here for a little bit. And then we're going to bring our arm over towards the other leg. Just gently wherever it lands, whether it is the shin or the thigh or the ankle. Don't worry where it is, it's just where it lands. And then just place the same hand, same leg, and just lift up that top arm, which is the opposite arm, and just peek underneath. Giving yourself a really, really nice opening of the side. And then we're going to come round over towards the first side again. And then rather than waiting, we're just going to turn the rib cage so you're peeking underneath the arm. And we're going to come around. So you just use the momentum of that sweep between the legs just to help you rotate the rib cage. That's it. In your imagination, you might want to put a tutu on and some ballet shoes and pretend you're, I always do. And I do moves like this. My childhood dreams of being a ballet dancer that were never realised. And just a couple more on each side. yourself down, bend your knees and come into cross-legged. And let's have a quick check-in of your spine whilst you're here in this more, so in this position, because you can just have a look down your centre line from the crown of your head to the pelvis. Okay, I'm going to spin round and I'm going to have a lie down. So, have a lie down with your feet on the floor, knees together, feet together, open your arms out wide, and let's just do a little side to side. So knees coming over towards the front of the mat, eye gaze towards the back. Send the rib cage down, lower spine, pelvis, knees over to the back of the mat. Lovely. Rib cage, waist, pelvis, knees, eye gaze to the back of the mat. Rib cage, pelvis, knees, eye gaze to the front of the mat. That's it. And now we're going to interlace the fingers behind the head. And we're going to bring the front elbow over so you're all facing the back of the mat. And then you open the top elbow, lengthen the elbows, drop the shoulders down and across the knees to the front of the mat, eye gaze to the back. Really lengthen and open out those elbows here before you close up. And again, opening out. Lengthen, rib cage, pelvis, knees, over to the other side. And coming over. That's it, good. And again, open the elbow. Rib cage, lower spine, pelvis, knees to the front of the mat. Over we go. And this time we're just going to open ourselves out. So we've got our knees facing the front of the mat. And your eye gaze is on towards the ceiling. Bring the elbows so you are, so they're just, you can see them slightly in your peripheral vision. And then put your heels of your hands around your skull and lengthen your skull a little bit. And we're just going to do some oblique chest lifts just in a slightly different format today. So eye gaze goes from ceiling to where your mid thighs would be as you curl up. And as you come down, as soon as your fingertips graze the mat, you want your signal to come back up. That's it, keeping that top thigh bone nice and lengthened. And just focus on sending your rib cage down towards your hip bone rather than your navel. Because that's where we are going. Good. And again. 3 more. 2. And 1. We're going to stay here. We're going to hold. 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 And we're going to soften down. And then we're going to repeat. That's it. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, then soften down. And 5 more. Keep just checking with your head position. Check in with your eyes. Check in with your elbows and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and come down. And bring your rib cage, your pelvis, your legs over towards the back of the mat. Eye gaze goes towards the front elbow. And then bring your head so you're looking at the ceiling, and bring your elbows up towards the ceiling. Heels of the hands around the skull, lengthen the skull away from the top of the spine. Eye gaze goes from ceiling to where your mid-thigh would be. And make sure that you're keeping the space in between your chin and your chest. That's a nice openness. And don't be surprised if one side is easier than the other, because that's the joys of us being asymmetrical. Keep that lengthen of the thigh as you hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and lengthen away. And back. And away. And back. Gently does it, slowly closing the space between your rib cage and your hip bone as you do this. And then 2 more. And we're going to hold here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Lengthen back. 1 more. Set. 2, 3. Remember, it's your abs doing it, you're not pulling your head towards your hips. 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, soften down. Now bring your knees back up to the ceiling and replace your cushion under your head if you have one. And then bring your back leg over your front leg and then come into a side to side. Bring your arms out to the side, just a big cross-legged side to side, just towards the front of the mat, eye gaze towards the back. And then come back down and use that top leg to just lengthen that bottom thigh bone gently. So really opening up around that hip. And then let's cross the legs and uncross the legs. And we'll go towards the back of the mat this time. Just starting, just lengthening over. Using the bottom leg to press down onto the top. And then come over towards the front of the mat, turning the head towards the back. Pressing the top leg down onto that thigh bone, the outside of the knee. To lengthen all the way down your hips, and then come back in. Bring your knees in, and then let's just have a little bit of a movement. Place the hands behind the thigh bones, press and roll up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to these triceps, but we're going to do it slightly differently. We'll do not the triceps, but just the back of the shoulders. You're going to send the heels of the hands into the mat. Okay. So you can come back like this. I'm going to do these actually. We're going to do 5 of these, and then what I want you to do, I want you to point your toes and lengthen your legs so your pelvis comes up, and then you're going to drop down, so you're going to flex your feet. Okay, so I'm going to point the toes. We're going to do 5 tricep dips to start off with. I'm going to do 5, 4, really lengthening those arm bones behind you, widening your collarbones. And then you're going to flex the feet, and you're going to press into the heels of the hands, into the heels, turn the ankles, and just lift gently. Look at that, amazing, well done. Turning the heels, just let the pelvis come back down, and then we're going to turn the legs, lengthening. So really opening up the hip flexors here, even whilst we're balancing and opening up the shoulders too. And then again. Good. And back. 2 more. And sinking that pelvis down. And 1 more, opening up the ankle. Bend the knees, cross them, bring your arms in front of you, and just lengthen your arm bones forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Words with the shoulder blades. Open the arms out. Place your fingertips down. We're going to just have a little repeat. We're going to bend the elbows. And again. And up. And again. And up. And again. And up. And then come through, lifting your pelvis up. And as you come down, flex the ankles, soften the arms. Pressing into the heels of the hands, levitating-ish off your hat, from your hands. And then I say that with a wry smile. Obviously we're not really levitating, but we want to really think about elevating. So creating space between the hands and the mat. That's it, good. One more time. Maybe lift your fingertips off and your heels are just a little bit off as you lean forward before you come and open. Good. Well done. Bend the knees again. Come forwards with the arms. Just let the arms soften. And then come forward onto your knees. And come up to high kneeling. So you want to be hip joint width apart or maybe a little bit wider. Don't need to tuck your toes under. Bring your hands up towards your shoulders. And just let the tops of the feet connect into the mat. Okay, find that center, really lengthen up from the center of your pelvis all the way up towards the crown of the head. And then as you want you to lean back by lengthening the thigh bone away from the knee, as you just close and flex the knee a little bit here, and then just lengthen your hands forwards. So you want to think really, really strong and down in your spine, really bring your stomach muscles together to your midline, gather them up as you lengthen your thigh bone away from your knee as you lean back. That's it, good. Imagine that you're holding on to something with your fingertips, that you're delaying the arms. That's it, good. And again. And then we're going to come down with the hands. We're going to tuck the toes under. And we're just going to roll onto the balls of the feet here. I'm just going to send the heels sort of down, but they're not touching, if you see what I mean. So you're getting that length of your soles of your feet. And we're just going to bring the feet out wide to the side. Sink the pelvis in between the legs. And just have a little bit of a move here. So just have a little bit of a... See if you are able to just move, whoa, exactly like that. So just moving around, maybe lift your heel up, maybe you can lift your toe up. Maybe lean backwards a little bit more than you would normally do. Just to understand what your balance is. And then I want you to just turn your back foot so your knee comes around. So you are now at the front. Set. And then come down. And then just turn. Pivoting on your balls of your feet and your heels so you're facing the back. But keeping that sort of crouching movement happening. So, and then if you are able to, maybe have your hands off, or maybe a fingertip off, or maybe a fingertip stroke. And then again. That's it, good. And then come down, hands on the floor, lengthen those legs. And then I just want you to bring your feet so they're parallel, and I do want you to have your fingertips on the floor, and I just want you to raise your heels. So you're just pressing on those fingertips, lengthening those soles of the feet as you bring the heels down. Up we go. So you can have your knees bent and do this if your legs aren't as comfortable with your legs long. It's just really about an ankle opening exercise, lengthening the legs, and also with the added extra of doing it upside down, but we do have the support of our hands. And then I want you to curl up from the front of the spine and bring your feet a little bit more narrow so they're hip joint width apart. And I want you to find your centre again. So let's take some time to have a look internally. Maybe readjust your feet, or maybe you need to move your spine a little bit, or your pelvis a little bit, or your toes a little bit. Just find that centre. Let's have a notice as well, an internal gaze as to what we have achieved today, doing quite a few new things. Give me a little limbering of movement there. So thank you very much. And I hope that